not your fault, baby, it's not mine. Not a chance we're crossing the same roads all at one time. Even if you see it coming, no time to beg out gracefully. One thing I know for sure, there'll be no doubt when you see you are right smack dab in the middle of it. Right smack dab in the middle. We are right smack dab in the middle of it. Right on schedule.
The secret truth. Through forgiveness we awaken, transforming information and knowledge into wisdom. And now our co-hosts, Charlotte Littlefield and George Butler.
Welcome to The Secret Truth. This is George Butler along with my co-host,
Charlotte Littlefield. Good evening, George.
Charlotte. How you doing today? All right?
Yeah, doing okay. How about yourself?
Oh, great, great. It's hot down here. I know it is up there too, probably.
Yeah, well, it's summer in the Northern Hemisphere.
Right. We've got just a really fine guest this evening. I first met her, and I've actually known about her. She appeared years ago on Coast to Coast, and Ian Ponick, I think, had her on his program several times, and she's really a specialist in a certain area, and it's so important that we convey this again and again and again. And welcome to our program, Dr. Ann Blake Tracy.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, tell us
Everyone
a little bit.
at We Are Change Utah said to say hello.
Oh, good. Well, thank you very much. Dr. Tracy, tell us a little bit about your background and what you've been specializing in over the years.
Well, about 20 years ago, I began noticing problems in so many people around me that I started asking what's going on, and they were asking questions about their medications. And the closer I looked, the more I began to realize that there might be a serious problem with what medication they were taking, and that was Prozac. And after that, we got Zoloft and Paxil, and then just all the rest of them as they came out one after another. But the first thing that I noticed was something that probably wouldn't have shown up anywhere else in the country as strongly as it did here in Utah, and that was cravings for alcohol. Absolutely overwhelming cravings for alcohol. Because these are people that generally do not drink. And since then, of course, all of that's been confirmed. So that's how it all started, and it just kind of grew from there because I realized what the drug was doing was causing the blood sugar to drop, which would cause the cravings for alcohol. And as far as I'm concerned, when you start messing with somebody's blood sugar, that's one of the worst things you can ever do to them. So it kind of struck a chord with me.
Yeah. Has the divorce rate changed in the Salt Lake area over the years as more and more of these psychotropic drugs have been in use and so forth?
Oh, yes. I call these the divorce pills. When from 7 years from the time that they were introduced, we went from the lowest divorce rate in the nation to over the national average. We became the bankruptcy capital. Unwed pregnancy skyrocketed. Those are the main things that I noticed. Diabetes skyrocketed. You know, it was going up at a fairly high rate, but it just shot through the roof.
Right.
Those were the things that really stood out. But, you know, from the very beginning, psychiatrists said that they were really concerned about giving the drugs because of their potential to induce mania, which we often call bipolar. Now every third person you meet, it seems, is bipolar. But from 96 to 2004, just during that period, there was a 4,000% increase of bipolar. So anyway, when somebody goes manic, there are many forms of mania. You can have nymphomania, where you have the uncontrollable sexual urges, like the woman that was just charged out in California with 67 counts of child sexual abuse. And you also have, there's another form of mania called dipsomania, which is overwhelming cravings for alcohol. So much of this can be explained by the drug's potential to induce mania.
Right. You wrote a book, Prozac, Panacea, or Pandora, and but later on is when you started seeing that within the rehabilitation programs, they were prescribing these drugs, and it was, in your opinion,
Right.
one of the worst things to even prescribe? Would that be your opinion today?
Oh, yeah. When we know that the drugs can produce various forms of mania, that when these forms of mania are described as cravings for alcohol, and there's 3 different types of mania, I think, that involve the cravings for alcohol. There's several types of mania that involve cravings for other drugs. So why on earth would you want to use them in a rehabilitation program? We know that, for instance, one study was done on Zoloft by NIH, and they found that 45 out of 100 who had problems with abuse, 45 out of 100 of them increased their alcohol intake once they started on Zoloft, which, of course, is going to explain exactly what's going on with Lindsay Lohan. They've got her on Zoloft, and they continue to incarcerate her or give her any kind of reprimand for doing what she's doing, but at the same time, they're probably court ordering her to stay on her medication.
Right.
What about suicide?
So the inducement of psychotic episodes is very, very common in this area. Is that what you've experienced in your own practice?
Okay, sorry I missed that. I heard the suicide, and then you were trying to say something, George.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The inducement of psychotic episodes would be something that you're seeing quite common, right?
Oh, yes.
You made a point.
That's what mania is. Mania is a psychotic episode.
I see. You made a point that the rapid eye movement, in particular, is very important at times in the disruption of the normal sleep cycle and so forth. These drugs, do they interrupt the normal sleep cycle at times?
Yes, they repress the dream state. They repress REM sleep. And if you repress REM sleep, what happens is your body, your brain will force you into REM while you're awake. So that is psychosis, going into the dream state while you're awake.
Right.
Dr. Tracy, there was a correlation between the divorce rate and other things. Did you notice, or was anybody tracking an increase in suicide?
Oh, yes. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, that was the most obvious. We shot up to one of the highest rates in the nation for teen suicide. If I recall, it became the #1 cause of death. So, and the FDA's warned that if you're under the age of 18 and take these drugs, you have like double the chance of suicide or suicidal thoughts, which leads to suicide. And then they increased it to anyone under the age of 25.
Okay, we've got to cut away. We'll be right back, Dr. Tracy. Thanks for being with us this evening.